And welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope all of you are having a superb start to the week. Welcome Anna. Hi Golzoda. Welcome to our chat moderator, Carolina. Nice to have you with us helping out the class today. Students, I am looking at the chat throughout this IELTS listening session, so make sure to type your thoughts and your questions there. This is an IELTS listening practice class. The topics will focus on part 1 and part 2 about football and the Titanic. It is April 1st today, also known as, let's see if anybody knows what the nickname of this very special date is, April 1st. It's kind of a day where people play practical jokes on each other, if you will. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS help. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. Ariadna says it's called Prima Aprilis. No, not in Canada and US. In Canada and US, we call April 1st a little something different for today. Students, our websites are aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. This is where we have our listening. I will use it in the class today. If you want to get all of our practice exams and lesson videos, check it out. This is aehelp.com here. Click the big red button to join the premium version. Right there, one-time payment, lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, and an IELTS test registration center, and we help thousands of students each month to improve and succeed on their IELTS exams. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com. It's the green background. Again, same idea. Click the big red button. Use the code FUTURE10 for a 10% discount. It's not Easter week, Risham. Easter week is actually all the way up to April 18th. April 18th will be Good Friday and then Easter Monday. So that's a little bit later on. Yes, it is, Ariadna. It's called April's Fool's Day, everybody, today. It's called April's Fool's Day. Yeah, so we take notes for the class and teaching a little bit about culture here as well. So April 1st is also known as April's Fool's Day, when people play practical jokes on each other. It's a day of fun and happiness and camaraderie, a day to remember that life is meant to be fun or meant to be enjoyed. There you go. That is April Fool's Day. The concept of, if you want to look at the history of where it comes from or how it evolved, go for it. Oh, Ariadna says we call it Prima Aprilis, but the meaning is the same. Okay, Ariadna. Thank you for that. I did not know that. I guess it's been around for a long time, maybe since the time of Romans, Latin. All right, everybody. So, yeah, when you sign up for those websites, you also get 2 premium Zoom classes each week, live like this. And you can check those classes out with this link, what those look like. If you have the web app, you might as well get the phone app. It's Academic IELTS Help for aehelp.com and General IELTS Help for gieltshelp.com in your app store. You can link those. And then if you have the mobile app and the web app, you might as well follow us on Instagram and get the full meal deal. IELTS_AEHelp or GIELTS Help. And then you might as well send us your questions when you have them at adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. And you'll have all the support you need to quickly understand and improve for that IELTS test. Okay. All right, students. So the schedule from April 1st to the 4th, right now we've got listening part 1 and 2. This is going to be an exercise class. We will listen, answer, go through the answers, and talk strategies. Okay, that's what we're going to do. And then tomorrow we'll do a speaking class where you will have a chance to interact through Zoom. Then for those of you who are premium users on the website, we'll do a task 2 writing class on Thursday and a speaking class on Friday. That's the plan, okay? And if you just can't wait for those speaking classes, you can start looking at some speaking classes on YouTube or on the website, again, if you're a premium user. Okay, students, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're studying for the IELTS. You're going to get lots of help, and we give help that actually helps you. We don't care about clickbaity videos so much. We just care about you getting a good mark on the IELTS exam. So we'll give you strategies that really, really do work. Okay, we're not going to tell you to skim and scan the reading section or just be yourself in the speaking section. We're going to tell you strategies like make sure to give explanations and examples, use conjunctions in the speaking, etc. Right? So we're here to really help. All right, so listening part 1 and 2. This is coming from our first exam. We're back to we've gotten back to the first exam with these practice sessions. You know you've been with us long enough if you're kind of going through all of the practice exams a second time. That's a good sign. That's a good thing. Okay, so I'm going to put on my headset here. We're going to play the audio through the website. And again, the website here is aehelp.com. So when you click that big red button and you join and you get the premium version, then you'll get access to your My Student account. And there you're going to have a computer-based practice exam. So there's practice test 1, 2, 3. You'll hear the audio in those exams, and then you'll have an interactive course where you'll have access to key strategies, for example. And then you'll also have access, let's not get into this right now, you'll also have access to our audio CDs, lesson videos, lots more. Okay, so here we go, everybody. This is test 1, listening section 1. Listen, answer the questions. You will not hear the questions a second time. Don't put the answers in the chat. We'll go through the answers after together, put it somewhere else. And then we'll talk strategy as well. Here we go, everybody. Let's do this.
This recording is copyrighted by 2 Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Listening section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 men as one of the men registers for a football league. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Hello there. I'd like to register for the Autumn Men's Football League.
All right. In what town will you be playing?
I'd like to play in Chester, though I'd be willing to travel to Liverpool if I had to.
The man says he wants to play in Chester, so B has been indicated for you. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time.
Sorry, everybody. I'm looking at the wrong exam here for you. I just realized. Okay, so that's why we review exams. Let me start that again, looking at the right exam for you. I was a little bit too far ahead. I jumped to our second exam, but let me just jump back to the first one. Here we go. So we're going to start that again, but ideally, students, and by the way, I have heard that sometimes in the real exam, they have similar like hiccups where it's the wrong information. So you have to kind of put up your hand and say, hey, I think there's something wrong here, if you notice that. Carolina's like, all right. So we're going to start that again so that you have a chance to review it. Again, in the real exam, if you ever have issues with your headphones, for example, or if you ever see that maybe you've got a wrong version of a test, for example, there are invigilators there, and you have to kind of like put up your hand right away and go, excuse me, there's something wrong with my headphones, or there's something wrong with my computer screen, or I think there's something wrong with this exam version. Okay. And this is, all the recordings are so interesting. Again, it's a good learning point, everybody. If there's ever an issue at the exam, that's why the invigilators are there. You shouldn't just be quiet and suffer through it, and it's easier to fix the problem when it's happening, okay? It's harder to say after the exam that, oh, my headphones weren't working. You have to say right away, something wrong with my headphones, I can't hear anything, or there's a static in there or something, okay? So let's do this one more time. We'll get into the right test here. This is definitely the right one. We can see now. So let's do it. Okay. So again, keep in mind, everybody, in the real exam, if there's ever an issue, put your hand up right away and express that issue. Okay. Here we go, everyone. Let's do this one more time.
Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Listening Section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 men as one of the men registers for a football league. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Hello there. I'd like to register for the Autumn Men's Football League.
All right. In what town will you be playing?
I'd like to play in Chester, though I'd be willing to travel to Liverpool if I had to.
The man says he wants to play in Chester, so B has been indicated for you. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello there. I'd like to register for the Autumn Men's Football League.
All right. In what town will you be playing?
I'd like to play in Chester, though I'd be willing to travel to Liverpool if I had to.
Well, we have 2 spots left open on the team in Chester and 5 spots open on the team in Liverpool. There's a very good chance you would have to try out for the team in Chester. Are you a good player?
I consider myself a good player, yes. I have been to a number of the Autumn Men's League games in the past, just as a spectator, and I'm sure I would have no trouble fitting in.
OK, good. So we will register you for Chester then. I just need to get some information from you, starting with your position. Where on the field do you prefer to play?
I'm a midfielder, although really I can play anywhere aside from goalkeeper.
Oh, I forgot to ask your name.
Right, I guess that's important. My name is Steve Trammell.
Would you mind spelling Trammell for me?
Certainly. Trammell is spelled T-R-A-M-M-E-L-L.
Right, now I need your home address, including your postcode.
I live in Chester, of course, at 452 King George Avenue. The postcode is MS868P4.
MS868P4?
Yes, that's right.
And your date of birth, sir?
The 8th of September 1986.
OK. Now I need your phone number. Just a mobile number will do.
I don't have a mobile phone right now, unfortunately. I can give you my girlfriend's number instead.
That would be all right, I suppose.
Good. Her number is 329 633270.
Fine. I think that's all the information I need to gather from you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple. First, when does the season start?
The season starts on the 28th of September, although your first game is later, I think. Let me check the schedule. Yes, your first game is October the 1st in Liverpool. Let me make a copy of the schedule for you.
Thank you. Could you also tell me how long each game is?
Each game has 2 halves, 40 minutes each half, so the game is 80 minutes long.
That's a little shorter than the other leagues I've played in. Games are usually 90 minutes.
Yes, our spring and summer leagues are 90-minute games, but our autumn league has only 80-minute games. I think it has something to do with the poor weather.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
All right, let's do that now. Players on roster.
Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
OK, can you tell me how many players are on each team? And I mean on the whole team, not just the players on the pitch.
Usually there are 5 additional players to the 11 on the pitch, so there are 16 players on each roster. We generally find that to be the perfect number. It allows for a few players to miss a game, but still allows lots of playing time for each player.
Yes, playing time is what I was worried about. I don't want to pay my money and then sit on the sidelines the whole season. Are there minimum playing time requirements?
Yes, each player must play a minimum of half a game, so you are guaranteed at least 40 minutes of playing time per game.
Wonderful. That puts my mind at ease. Could you tell me what facility we play at in Chester?
That information is on the schedule, along with the addresses of all the other facilities in the league. Here's your schedule.
Thank you. Oh, good, it states we play 2 streets from my flat. How convenient.
That is very lucky. Do you have any more questions?
No, I think that's it. Oh wait, how much does it cost to register?
It's going to be £125 for the season, including all fees. How would you like to pay?
I'll be paying cash.
Right. Would you like a receipt? If you find that it doesn't work out time-wise, you can always bring the receipt back. And we will give...
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students, always check your answers in that half minute. Don't just jump to the next section. So let's go through the answers, and we'll talk a bit of strategy too. I'm sure everybody saw that at the beginning there, I kind of jumped around the entire exam. So your very first tip, everyone, and that you should do this when you're in the real test and practice this at home, okay, is to look at the topics of all 4 sections or all 4 parts during the instructions, okay? Look at the topics of all 4 parts during the instructions to let your brain start thinking about them and gathering the related English. Okay, so here part 1 is man registers for a football league. Okay, part 2 is about the Titanic, a big ship. Okay, part 3 is some kind of a group project. Hopefully everybody got that. Anybody get part 4? What was part 4? Anybody see what that was? Now, if you don't catch all of them in the instruction times, that's okay, but at least give it a shot. Risham says it was something about climate. Yep, you're close, Risham. Not conservation. It was something about climate. It was right there. The topic was right there. Part 4, everybody, you should get, because they usually just give you the topic right at the top of the question sheet. When I did my practice exam, it was about use of pesticides, and that was the title, the use of pesticides in Australia. So they gave that to us, so pay attention. It was climate change. There you go. So topic was climate change. Okay. A lot of candidates will go to the IELTS exam, and when the instructions are going, they're just kind of like really nervous. They're biting their nails and they're looking around and they're listening to what the other guy's doing. Focus. Take the necessary steps. Concentrate on what you need to do, not what you are scared of or what other people are doing. Focus on your target. Okay, so part 4 was climate change. Yeah. Change. There we go. Climate change. Yeah, so when you think about all of those, now your brain's like, yeah, okay, I know what's coming. Okay, let's look at these questions for part 1. So they gave you this example. Where would the man like to play football? Chester. They don't have examples since 2020. So since 2020, there's no examples. Okay, so it's not there. They just go right into it. How many football matches has the man played in the league? Now, these kinds of multiple choice questions, they don't say these usually in the listening. They say a statement like, I have never played in this league, or, oh, I've played like a dozen matches, which would be 12. But in this case, the man says, I have just been a spectator, right? Kavina says B. Anna says B. Golzoda says B. B is correct, everybody. So a big tip here, everybody, a big trick or a tip, when you're practicing multiple choice for your IELTS exam, look at the question and then convert it into a possible statement, because that's probably what you're going to hear. And then your brain is going to catch it. Don't just look at the choices. That's a bad strategy. Okay, look at the question, convert it into a possible statement. Does that make sense, everyone? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If that does not make sense, you can give me a thumbs down. You can be like, oh, I don't think so. But I think those students that have followed this strategy have really improved their multiple choice. So multiple choice questions. 1, do not just stare at the answers. This won't work. Okay. 2, instead, look at the question and convert it into a statement. Of course, do it in your head in the real test. This is what you're likely to hear. Okay. All thumbs up so far. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. All right. Yeah, so that's how multiple choice should be looked at. So when we're looking at this next one, like what position does the man play? You might hear something like, I like to play, or you might hear something like, I prefer to play, or you might hear something like, I play, or you might hear something like, the position I like. And your brain can kind of think through those variations pretty quickly. Okay. Shiva says, I think that's A. Kavina says, I think it's A too. You're right. It's midfield. He says, I'm a midfielder. Okay. All right. And then we get into some demographics. Students, these are dictation questions. Be patient. Practice these. These will be on your exam. They always come up on the exam. What's his name? His name is Steven something. And then he says it. And then the guy says, can you spell it? And then he spells it. And he goes, it's spelled T. And of course, it's a capital T because it's name. Rasham says it's T-R-A-M-M-E-L-L. Very good, Shiva. Very good, Rasham. And you can do all capitals. Ibrahim, that is not correct. The spelling or the capitalization. Anna, double L at the end. Okay. Trammell. Steve Trammell. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right, and then they give the address, 452 King George Avenue. And what's the postal code, everybody? They gave the postal code here as well. What was that? And it says it was MS868P4. With some good spacing. Now, spacing doesn't matter, everybody, but Anna put the right spacing in there. That is correct. That was the postal code, everyone. MS868P4. Very good. Rasham, good job. It's the same thing. You don't need to worry about spaces for phone numbers or for postal codes as long as you just get them. Okay. Dr. Unbox, I will check the email on Academic English Help. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then he gave his birthday and his contact phone number. Now, number 5 was matching the time with the event. So here, the event is Steven's first match. When was it? When is it? Is it September 30th or the 28th, October 3rd or the October 1st? And so many of you say it's D. Yes, it is. It's October 1st. Bonus question, everybody. When does the season start? So if this were 2 questions, let's hypothetically say this is 2 questions. So question, let's make this 5B. When does, or we'll just say the start of season. If we had 2 questions here, 5B would be the start of the season. What would be the right answer there? Kavina says 28th of September. Yeah. Very good. That's some active listening. Okay. Yeah. Great job. Okay, active listening, students, is really important. So if you want to do a really good job in your IELTS exam, when you're practicing at home, don't just do these listening exercises once. Do them 2-3 times. Like, we have 6 full practice exams on our website. We're looking to add 4 more this year. And sometimes, you know, we get these emails like, oh, we need more exams. 6 exams is not enough. And it's like, well, actually, 6 to 10 exams should be enough to get you prepared for the IELTS exam. Preparing for the IELTS exam does not mean that you need to do 20 or 30 practice exams, okay? It means you need to do about 6 to 10 practice exams and then really understand them. Students, if you're on the website and you've done all 6 of our practice exams, then you can do like 8 more practice exams with Test Glider here, and one of those is free. So there's actually kind of 7 practice exams on our website if you use the free one, and then if you want to pay a little bit more, you can buy more exams. But really, you don't really need more than 6 or 7 exams to prepare for the IELTS. If you're doing a good job, you should do the same exam at least 2, maybe even 3 times to figure out what you're really doing. Okay. All right. And again, for those of you who are interested in all of this, make sure to sign up for the premium version by clicking that big red button there. It is, again, a one-time payment, and you get lifetime access. So it's not like you're on a time limit. You have to finish them in 1 month. That's why we don't do subscription, because we want you to be able to do the exams 3, 4, 5 times. Okay. All right. General IELTS, GIELTShelp.com. Okay. Right there. All right. So League, it's an autumn league. It's 80 minutes, two 40 minutes halves. How many players? How many players are on the roster? So how many players are on the team total? Kavina says 16. Kavina, you're right. It is it is 16. He says there are 5 additional players to the 11 on the pitch, 16 total. Yeah. What's the minimum playing time? Number 7. Shiva, I think you jumped number 7 there. Or is it, sorry, yeah, no, you got number 7. Sorry, you got number 7. Risham, Test Glider has academic and general. They have both. Yeah, it's Golzoda. It's 40 minutes. Very good. Okay. 40 minutes. Yeah, very good. Okay, so some more multiple choice. Same thing as before. Turn it into a statement. Why does the man say he's lucky? He made something like, that's fortunate. He actually said that's convenient. And then I think the other guy did say something like, that is lucky, or something like that, right? So, yeah, it's C. Very good, Risham. The playing field is close to where he lives. He said it's only a couple of blocks away. Okay. So, yeah, that's the correct answer. Very good. What's the cost of the football league? Again, you're listening for statements, just like with the multiple choice. So how much does it cost? It costs £125. Okay. Or, yeah, there you go, Anna. You can just use the little symbol for it, right? So use the little symbol, £125. Don't use both, though. Best is the symbol. Okay. Unfortunately, Golzoda, if you just put 125, it's not enough because they don't say how many pounds. They just say what's the cost. And it could be like 50 pence. I don't know. Or maybe it's an American team. Then it's $100. But no, in this case, it's 125 pounds. So you do need the pound symbol there. Be careful about that. Okay. How is the man paying? He's paying cash. Yeah, very good. So cash it is. Cash is king. Cash. Okay, good. Students, how did you do? What did you get out of 10? So how did you do on that first part? What was your mark out of 10? For those of you who want to get a band 6.5 or more, you should be thinking you need to get more than 8. Okay. Perfect world, you're getting like 9 or 10. Okay, 9 or 10 out of 10 on this part. Ibrahim, 5 out of 10 on part 1. Not so good. You might be in trouble by the end of the listening test because part 2, 3, and 4 just get more and more difficult. Abraham's like, yeah, very bad. Yeah, you need to improve that. 7, Kavina, it's okay. Golzoda, 9 is good. Anna, 8 is kind of the minimum. Okay. But yeah, you definitely want to aim for at least 8 on part 1. Okay. At least 8. Okay, students, let's go to section 2. So we're going to listen again, answer the questions. You see lots of multiple choice here. So again, wait for the conversion. So wait for the answers and think about converting this. Like it's what was the overall capacity of the Titanic? So the total number of people on the ship, for example. Okay. Let's do this. So let's listen, let's answer, and then we'll go through the answers together. Let's do it.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a radio presenter interviewing a woman about the infamous ship Titanic. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Good afternoon to all our listeners and welcome back to History Now, a weekly programme that reflects on subjects of historical influence. Today we are going to speak with Dr. Andrea Smithson, an historian at the University of Glasgow. Good afternoon, Andrea.
Good afternoon, Peter.
What are you going to talk about today, Andrea?
I'll be talking about one of the most catastrophic events in maritime history, the sinking of the Titanic.
I can't wait for you to begin.
Thanks, Peter. The Titanic was an enormous ship. The makers called it unsinkable. From end to end, it measured approximately the length of 3 football pitches. It had the capacity to carry over 3,500 passengers, as well as the over 800 people on the crew of the ship. Despite its massive size and impressive capacity, the Titanic was able to cruise at a speed of 40 knots. This was in large part due to the 59,000 horsepower engine. Just how much is 59,000 HP? Well, in literal terms, it's like being pulled by 59,000 horses. More realistically, it's the equivalent power of 500 cars. On the maiden voyage that left Southampton, England, on the 10th of April 1912, there were 1,343 passengers and 885 crew members. There were 3 different classes of tickets for those aboard the Titanic. A third-class ticket was the lowest level ticket. At the time, it cost between £3 and £8. A second-class ticket cost about £12. A first-class ticket cost anywhere from £30 all the way up to £870. In today's money, £870 is over £20,000. You may be wondering what the people in the first class were paying for. They had luxurious rooms on the highest decks, delicious meals for breakfast, lunch and dinner, as well as the finest entertainment money could buy. On the other hand, those in third class slept in cramped rooms which were quite plain and small and did not have access to the fine restaurants and entertainment on the upper decks of the ship. Now I'd like to tell you about a few lesser known facts about the Titanic. Although there were 4 large funnels, or smokestacks, on the Titanic, only 3 of them were functional. One of the funnels was put there just to make the ship look even bigger and more impressive. The ship carried over 70 tons of food for the passengers, including over 40,000 eggs.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
On the night of the 14th of April 1912, on her maiden voyage, the Titanic hit an iceberg. About 3 hours later, early morning the next day, the ship sank. The reasons for the sinking are numerous. First, the watertight doors, which water out, didn't work properly. Second, the night of the 14th of April was incredibly calm on the water. Icebergs are easily spotted when there are waves crashing against them. On this night, there were no waves. The strength of the metal in the Titanic was not as it should have been. The metal became brittle in the freezing cold and was easily broken by the iceberg. Another big factor was the inability of the Titanic to turn quickly. Once the lookouts had spotted the iceberg, the captain ordered the ship turned, but it was too late. If the ship had been able to turn faster, it would have missed the iceberg. One of the biggest tragedies about the sinking was that there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on the ship. In addition to this, many of the lifeboats left the sinking vessel with less than half of the people they were designed to carry. For example, the first lifeboat off the Titanic left with only 27 of the allotted 65 passengers. This unfortunate occurrence can be attributed to panic on the part of the passengers and crew. One can only imagine the sheer terror on board the ship that early morning. 1,523 out of the 2,228 passengers and crew perished that morning. Most died from the near freezing temperature of the Atlantic Ocean. Others drowned after being trapped in the lower decks. 705 people lived to tell their story, most of them women and children who were put on the lifeboats before the grown men were. Because of this, 94% of the first-class passenger women and children were saved, while only 14% of the third-class passenger men survived. Overall, 60% of the first-class occupants survived, while only 25% of the third-class ticket holders lived in the aftermath of this tragedy.
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
And again, students, check those answers. Let me just go back to the websites here and pause our audio. Again, for those of you watching, we're getting the audio from aehelp.com and gltshelp.com. Make sure to join our premium versions of the courses there by clicking these big red buttons. All right, let's go back and look at these questions. So what was the overall capacity of the Titanic, the total number of people on the ship? What was it, everybody? A, 800, B, 3,500, C, 4,300. And again, students, make sure to copy, write down what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Many of you are saying C. There's a bit of math there. Yeah, I was showing you the math. It was 800 crew, 3,500 passengers. 800 plus 3,500 is 4,300 is the correct answer. Yeah, because it was the overall or the total number of people, right? Maximum. Thankfully, it was, excuse me. Thankfully, it wasn't at full capacity. It was only almost half, right? What was it? And again, this is active listening. So 1,523 people died, and I think it's at 700 survived, right? So there were like 2,300-ish roughly on the ship. So the ship was nowhere near full. It was 2,000 people roughly under capacity, which is good. Risham just did some quick math there. Risham says, I think it was 2,230 people. Yeah, which actually turned out to be a good thing, right? That it was not maximum capacity. Ugh. All right. So what was the cost of a third class ticket? You saw me cross out option A because that just looked too expensive, right? I was like, ooh, that's a lot of money. So was it 1 to 2 pounds, 3 to 8 pounds? I think it was C. Yeah, 3 to 8 pounds. And then I think a class 2 ticket was 30 pounds or something like that. Yeah, it was 3 to 8 pounds for a third class ticket. Okay, and then we had questions 13 to 15. 13 to 15, excuse me. 13 to 15, you had to choose several of these. So you had 6 choices, and you had to choose 3. For this kind of question, students, you need to write down the answers just because you might not hear them all. So again, it's a big mistake to just stare at the choices. So I wrote down luxurious rooms or lux rooms. You can just write that. Delicious meals and finest entertainment. So luxurious rooms, there we go. High quality meals, there we go. Great entertainment, all in a row. BCD. Very good, Ibrahim. Very good, Golzoda. Okay. Number 16. Which of the following is the best representation of the Titanic? Is it A, where it's got these 5 stacks, B, where it's got 4, or C, where it's got 3? Okay. Yeah, B, definitely. was the right one. But one of them didn't work. Probably this one on the back. I don't know. Or maybe the one on the back worked, actually, because probably the engine was closer to the back. Because probably his front one didn't work. Who knows? One of them didn't work, though. One of them was just a showpiece. They're ridiculous. But anyway, that's what they did. that's your thinking of, hey guys, let's just put in a fake one, make it look real big. Why don't let's just, you know what? They should have done this one. They should have done 5. Let's make it look even bigger. Let's do 5. All right. Ibrahim, were they all working in the movie? Was there smoke coming out of all of them? All right. It was extremely calm that night, so there were no what crashed against the iceberg. No what? There was no something crashing against the icebergs. There were no waves. Very good, Anna. Yeah, there were no waves. No waves crashed against. Short answer. So the Titanic hit the iceberg, unfortunately. It wasn't able to turn fast enough. The metal got brittle in the cold water. And the watertight something failed. What failed? Something just did not work. Something broke that should not have broken. Anna says, I missed it. The watertight. Yeah. And Risham, unfortunately, wouldn't get that because it wasn't one door, right? It's a big boat. Doors. Always think logically too, like Risham. Others, just think about it, right? At least a huge ship. It's not just a watertight door. It's watertight doors. Right? There's going to be lots of them. Ariadne is like, it's doors, everybody. It's doors. Right? Okay. Many something left the ship half full. They said this word like 3 or 4 times, so you should have caught it. The question is, are you going to spell it correctly? But you should have caught it. They said like, oh, the first one of these only left with 28 people instead of the allowed 63. Right? That was really, really sad. Very good, Anna. Yeah, they said. I think they said it about 3 or 4 times. I was trying to count, but they said it 3 or 4 times. It was lifeboats. Very good. Lifeboats. Left the ship half full. Rescue ships, right? Lifeboats. So 1,523 people died. I think it was 706 or something lived. Or 707? 706? 707 maybe. Most from the freezing cold temperature of... That's right, Landrick. Landrick says the freezing cold temperatures of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, the North Atlantic Ocean. Up in Canada, but in Newfoundland, the waters of Newfoundland. Yeah. Yes, sir. Very sad story. Anybody know the year? What year did the Titanic sink? Anybody know the year the Titanic sank? Some little history for you. Very good, Anna. Yeah, 1912. Very good, Ghazi. 1912. Yeah. 2 years before World War I. Yes, it was. All right, students, that's section 2. How did you do? What did you get? What was your score? Again, section 2, you should still be getting about 7, 8, correct? For sure. Part 1, part 2. You should be looking at like 16 out of 20 or more. Or greater. Yeah. Golzoda, 18 out of 20 is good. Landrick, 7 out of 10 is okay on part 2. Yeah. Mersham, 19 out of 20 for both is good. Students, on the website, you have score calculators. So you've got a place to, it's literally called a score calculator. Now, we haven't done the full test yet. We'll do the second half of this test next Tuesday. We've got speaking tomorrow, but that's the score calculator I just put into the test there. So when you do finish the full test, you might say, hey, I got 30 out of 40. I'll tell you a band 7, okay? So full test. We will do it. Students, join and get all of our practice exams by clicking that big red button. For the general IELTS, it's the green background. Click the big red button there. Again, one-time payment, lifetime access. So it's worth 30 to 50 bucks US. Okay. All right, students, that's it for today and for today's listening. I hope you enjoyed the class. Tomorrow I'll be back with speaking, and we'll actually do speaking using Zoom live here on YouTube. So you'll have a chance to speak. Carolina, thank you for moderating. I saw you clean up a couple of comments there, which was nice. And Anna says, I use the calculator every time when I do the test. That's great. Okay, everybody, join us, aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Watch the videos, subscribe to the channel, come back tomorrow, practice with me a bit more, and we'll make sure you get that score that you need on your next IELTS exam. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria here in Canada. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye, everybody.